Morning folks, I'm going to try and do a quick crude video of sticking a new eyelet and hook on the end of a Tirfor winch cable. Basically the story is I got a new cable for the Tirfor winch. Well, it's not new, it's from sort of one of these online auction asset disposal companies. The problem is someone had mashed up the end that goes through the winch, and then when it goes to auction disposal, they cut the end off, so you can't use it. I guess it's so there's no liability comes back on them if you hurt yourself. The only thing wrong with it was the cable at the end, where it goes to a point and it feeds through the winch. Someone had mangled it all up. So what I've done, I'll bring you in a little bit closer. You have to excuse the state of the workshop. I'm waiting on some parts. As you can see, I just cut the ends off flush, and then I use a gas torch and braze the ends to stop the ends coming apart. So I've done that on both ends. That will feed through a winch much easier. If you're familiar with the Tirfor winches, they basically go down to sort of a bullet shaped end, so I can use the angle grinder just to knock. I'll do it on the other end. I don't braze anywhere along the line, so if anyone says you braze the line, no, I've only done it on the dead end of the winch. But right, we'll crack on. First thing, if you've ever used a Tirfor winch or any steel cable, you're going to want a pair of gloves on. I'm not one to preach health and safety to people, but it's yeah, if you've been caught once, you know. So the first thing you want to do is put your eyelets on. Obviously do that before you start feeding your cable, otherwise you're going to get yourself in a bit of a muddle. You're going to take it around the thimble. This is only a 6mm cable, so you're going to want to get a few inches past. And this is the important bit to remember. If anyone's done the old style cable brace, and you'll probably know it, but there's a saying, it says never saddle a dead horse. And what that means is this part, if I use a screwdriver to point, this part here is the saddle. Now if you stick that on what is called the dead end of the cable, the bit that goes nowhere, it's very likely to pull out. So it's always important to get your grips around the right way. This is why we wear gloves. The first one's always the most difficult to get because you've got to slide it right up. As you can tell, this definitely isn't a rehearsed video. You want to get it as far up as you can within reason. You can get it a bit further by pulling on the dead end. There we go, that's as far as I'm going to get it. We're just going to get this one snugged up. We'll deal with the other two in a minute. That's why you've got to get your clamps on first. Okay, that's the first one done. What I'll do is I'll snug these other two up, and I'll bring you back in when that's done. Okay, well, I'll bring you back in. This is basically the finished product. You want to try and aim with them equally spaced, and all roughly orientated, you know, upright. You don't want one pointing at 45 degrees that way and one pointing at 45 degrees that way. That's absolutely fine for what we've done. I've taken my gloves off now just for ease of filming. There's no shards on this part. So you want to try and follow the profile of the galvanized thimble, and then like you see here, I've just brazed the end, and I've only done that on what they call the dead end of the cable. I haven't brazed along the length of it or anything, so I'm not going to weaken the cable in any way. It's just to stop the ends from fraying. So if I bring you in about this, which way around these clamps go, this is the saddle, and this is the part they call the dead horse. This is the part they call the live horse. Effectively, you don't want the saddle up on this part here. It's called the dead end because it goes nowhere. If you put the saddle part up here, so effectively if these clamps were the other way around, what you're going to find is it's going to pull the cable out of these clamps, and you're likely to end up with a problem on your hands. I mean, those of you that have done the old style cable bricing will probably done this many times, but yeah, for if anyone that hasn't, hopefully it will be of use to some.